Set! Hike! Welcome to the 85th installment of Em Alejandro, your number one place for sports, cars, video games, fitness. If you're a man, you're here. Mr. Alejandro, tell him.
What you about to tell him, Alejandro?
TA drinkers! Football season is finally here! And Mr. Alejandro can't wait to tell him about some college football, NFL news, fantasy football, and all that. These tough topics in the Tell 'em Zone.
Tell him, Alejandro!
TA drinkers, let's start off with some college football. Quarterback for the Florida State Seminoles, Jameis Winston, recently was suspended for a game. Off the field, on campus, he made a rude remark and he got in trouble for it. Originally, the suspension was for the first half of the game, but then it got upgraded to the whole entire game. His team almost lost the game, but they ended up pulling out a tough victory. My reaction originally was laughter. I thought what Jameis Winston did was funny because I'm just a fan of the sport. But if I was in charge of an NFL team, my reaction to what Jameis Winston did would be disappointment. Here's why. Jameis Winston is very talented on the field. He has a lot of potential to be a star in the NFL, but it is time for Jameis Winston to grow up and become a man. If Jameis Winston wants to be the quarterback of an NFL team, he needs to show leadership skills and he needs to mature immediately. And I want to see Jameis Winston do good. Like I said before, on the field, he's got game, but he needs to get it up here and up here. And I'm sure a lot of NFL scouts were probably looking at him like, yo, this guy's just not ready. I probably would stay away from him, especially in the first round, and probably invest in somebody that's really about that football life rather than standing on tables blurting out nonsense. So please, Jameis Winston, step it up, son. I'm rooting for you. Let's go into some NFL news, shall we? And let's stay on the topic of quarterbacks. The Minnesota Vikings quarterback, Matt Cassel, recently got injured, and now they will be starting the rookie that they drafted in the first round, Teddy Bridgewater. Unfortunately, Matt Cassel got injured. I never want to see people get hurt, but I do think it's a good look that they're starting Teddy Bridgewater. I feel like when you draft somebody in the first round, you're supposed to be playing him. You don't draft people in the first round to sit them down. That's a waste of a draft pick. First round, immediate impact. That's how I always feel. Same thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're benching Chad Henne because he was sipping a little bit too much Henne and he was playing poorly. And now they're going to be playing their rookie that they drafted in the first round, Blake Bortles, another quarterback. This is a good look. I think that these quarterbacks, they're going to take their lumps. They're probably not going to perform extremely well this season, but with experience and time and patience, we will see if these quarterbacks got game or no. I think both of them are going to hold it down, specifically Blake Bortles. A lot of cats are slurping him up, a lot of scouts. He's a poster boy, this, that, and the third. I'm rooting for Teddy Bridgewater also. Now, let's stay on the topic of quarterback. I want to talk about Geno Smith for the New York Jets. Recently, my New York Jets played on Monday Night Football and they lost to the Chicago Bears. A lot of people, especially in New York, are clamoring for the benching of Geno Smith and they want to see the backup quarterback, Michael Vick, start. I think this is an awful idea. People, please relax. Just like Aaron Rodgers said, relax, R-E-L-A-X. Please, stop it. You don't want to see Michael Vick starting for the New York Jets. Not that Michael Vick is a bum, but let's face it. If you bench Geno Smith for Michael Vick, you're not investing in your future. You've already invested a second-round pick in Geno Smith. Play Geno Smith. Be patient. This is his second season. I don't understand why after 3 games in his second season, people are saying bench him. Is he playing very good right now? Probably not. Could he improve? Yes. Is he an average quarterback right now? Yes. But you know what my argument to that is? Eli Manning, the quarterback for the New York Giants, in his first 3 years, he stunk. I was so upset because in that same draft, the San Diego Superchargers drafted Phillip Rivers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted Big Ben Roethlisberger. Those 2 quarterbacks were playing great. I'm looking at Eli Manning like, this guy stinks. Why did the Giants pick him up and not Rivers or Roethlisberger? In Eli Manning's 4th year, in the regular season, he stunk. In that same 4th season for Eli, in the playoffs, Eli played phenomenally, and the New York Giants won the Super Bowl. So the way that I feel is, with a quarterback, if you invest a high draft pick in him, be patient. You sign him to a 4-year deal. You play him for 4 years. See if he's got game. By the end of this year, we're going to know if Geno Smith is progressing or regressing. At the end of last year, he looked like he was on the way up. After 3 games, it's too soon to say whether he's a bum or not. Everybody calm down. Let him play football. Now, let's go to some defensive players, shall we? I want to talk about Chris Baker, the touchdown maker. Chris Baker is a defensive player for the Washington Redskins who recently destroyed quarterback Nick Foles on an interception play. The referees immediately threw a flag and ejected Chris Baker out of the football game, but recently the NFL ruled that this was a clean hit on Nick Foles. The way that I feel about it is, it was definitely a clean hit. The NFL in the past few years has turned the NFL from tackle football to flag football. I understand why, because they got a whole bunch of concussion settlements going on where old school players are suing them because their lives are kind of messed up from all the injuries that they obtained playing football back in the day. But you know what? Nick Foles threw an interception. The play is live. At this point, Nick Foles is no longer a defenseless player, so to speak. At this point, Nick Foles has the opportunity to pursue the person who intercepted the ball and tackle him. So he's technically a threat. Now, was this hit necessary? Hell no. Nick Foles was not a real threat. He was not close to the ball carrier, nothing like that. But I feel like Nick Foles did not get hit in the head. He did not get hit in the neck. He did not get hit in the knees or anything below the knees. He got hit right here where the number 9 on his jersey is. That's where he got hit, right in the chest. Bam! Right in the kisser, baby.
Pow! Right in the kisser.
So I feel like it's a clean hit. It wasn't a dirty hit. It was uncalled for, but that's football. If you don't want to get hit, go play tap dancing. This is a man's sport, and you better be ready to get aggressive like Mr. Alejandro.
Round 1. Fight.
Clean hit. Everybody get off Chris Baker's back, please. Let's go to Stephen Tulloch. Stephen Tulloch is a linebacker for the Detroit Lions who recently sacked Aaron Rodgers. After he sacked Aaron Rodgers, he mimicked Aaron Rodgers' discount double check taunt, his celebration. And as he did that, he jumped and blew his knee out and he tore his ACL. Now, I'm torn with my reaction to this because A, I never want to see people get hurt. B, the way that it looks, it's hilarious. I couldn't help but giggle a little bit when I saw him jump, explode like, and then all of a sudden grab his knee like, oh no. A few years ago, Stephen Tulloch sacked Tim Tebow, and he did the Tim Tebow celebration where it looks like he's praying. It's called Tebowing. So with that said, Stephen Tulloch has the track record of hitting people and using their celebration against them. So this is kind of karma, my G. Hopefully you learn from this. Don't do other people's taunts. I don't blame you for celebrating because I know if I get a sack or a touchdown, I'm going to dance. But maybe it's better if you think of your own dance from here on out. That way, nothing bad happens to you. Get well soon, please. Next up, let's stay on some defensive players. I want to talk about some DBs, defensive backs. Let's talk about Maurice Claiborne. Maurice Claiborne is a cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys who back in 2012 was drafted 6th pick overall, and since then he has stunk in the NFL. He's completely stunk like basura. Ugh. But recently, in the game played on Sunday versus the St. Louis Rams, he got carved up for most of the game, but at the end, he made 2 big plays to help his team secure a comeback win. Now, this week, the coaches informed Mo Claiborne that he would be benched and they would be starting another cornerback, and Mo Claiborne got upset and he stormed out of the facility and missed practice. He came back today and, apologized, this, that, and the third, and I feel like what Mo Claiborne did was wrong. But clearly he's passionate and he wants another opportunity to succeed. I'm rooting for him, but also I'm a New York Giants fan. And I feel like if he stinks and he's on the field, it only helps my Giants. So keep on stinking, my brother. I'm rooting for you to stink. Next up, Richard Sherman. I want to talk about Richard Sherman because 2 weeks ago, Richard Sherman and the Seattle Seahawks played against the San Diego Superchargers and they lost to the Chargers. And Richard Sherman, after the game, was not available for a post-game interview. I have a problem with this. Here's why. Richard Sherman loves to talk that talk and walk that walk, and I like him for that. I like a loudmouth. But when you lose or things don't necessarily go your way, you can't duck criticism. You feel me? On Twitter, Richard Sherman was talking about how he did not get beat in the game because a lot of people were saying how he did get beat. I feel like, Rich, everybody and their mama want to hear you talk after a game. especially if your team loses. Nobody wants to talk to Russell Wilson, no offense, but the world knows Richard Sherman and that epic NFC Championship post-game interview. Rich, you can't be ducking interviews like that, man. You gotta be a man, come to the podium and be like, yo, today my team and I lost. It is what it is. We're going to work in the film room and in the weight room, whatever we got to do to strive and get better and not have to deal with this feeling anymore. You feel me? That's a better way to show that you're resilient rather than no showing and then saying something crazy on Twitter. You feel me? Richard, I'm rooting for you. Please don't do something like this again. It's not a good look. Next up, I want to talk about my man, Clinton-Dix. He got his first interception in the NFL. He's a rookie. Shout out to my man, Clinton-Dix. Let's go to some wide receivers, please. DeSean Jackson recently this week played against the Philadelphia Eagles, his former team, and when he scored a touchdown, he got it in. He started flapping the wings like an eagle. Then he said, "Man, get this stuff out of here. I ain't no eagle no more." I loved it. I can just imagine being a player going against your former team and beating them for a long touchdown or just beating them in general. And it's such a satisfying feeling. I'm sure it was. Not to mention, as a New York Giants fan, I always want to see the Eagles lose. I don't like the Philadelphia Eagles whatsoever. I don't like the Washington Redskins either, which is the team that Jackson plays for. But I despise the Philadelphia Eagles. So it felt good to see D-Jax get a little bit of revenge. Not to mention, they kind of treated him like he was a gang member. That's not a good look, man. That organization sucks. Now, let's talk about another player that will be going against his former team this upcoming week. Triple S, Steve Smith Sr. I love Steve Smith Sr. He reminds me of me. He's muscular, extremely aggressive, extremely tough. He's a beast, and he takes no prisoners. I love that mentality. If you on my team, you gonna love me. If you going against me, you gonna despise me. And last but certainly not least, a quick review on my New York Giants. We got our first win of the season this week against the Houston Texans. Our offense seemed to be clicking. Finally, our running game was top notch. And I want to give a special shout out to my favorite player in the NFL. My man's Vick Cruz scored a touchdown, got his first salsa of the year. First salsa actually since week 4 of last year, 2013. It's been a minute. And Victor, you know it. I know it. You've been ducking me. You can't hide much longer. You, me, 1v1 salsa challenge. Except you can't hide much longer if you a man. Yes, sir. Woo! Woo! TEA drinkers, I will be making a few NFL fantasy football leagues on ESPN and on Yahoo, whichever one you prefer. Holla at me. I want to play fantasy football, and I want to play with y'all so we can talk some trash, and of course, so I can pummel y'all, and y'all have y'all chance to pummel me. Holla at your boy. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, right below in the comments. Don't matter. Let me know ASAP. Hey, folks. Mr. Alejandro's tough topics in the television. What do you think about Jameis Winston's behavior on and off the field? How do you think the rest of the NFL season will play out? And last but not least, how's your fantasy team doing? Tell them in the comments. Tonight's green and purple bow tie is brought to you by Countess Mara. I'm rocking that green and purple, but I ain't no Steve Urkel. Tune in for more sports, cars, video game, fitness, and all that. Follow at Em Alejandro to hear my immediate reaction to live sports events. Or if you want to hear me cover a certain team or topic, tell them. Outro music. Yeah. Next set of football that's going on will be my New York Football Giants going to Washington, D.C. on Thursday, going up against the Washington Redskins. Them skins, best believe we finna whoop that behind and go 2-2 in the season. And my Jets gotta deal with Megatron.